everybody takes this home, and if they learn this and if they feel this, it is my promise, my guarantee that if you just practice that, and of course there's posture and there's muscles and there's technique, but that base right there can put anybody back to the moment, back to right here, away from attaching to thoughts.
Yeah, what a great bonus. I thought we were going to talk about breath. I didn't know we were going to do breath. That was really terrific and profound. And I'm sure, for people watching you right now, it's kind of hard to sit through that and not participate. My business partner, Patrick Gentempo, has a phrase he uses where people go hear somebody speak and it feels great and it's meaningful, and he likens it to if you had like a structural problem with your physiology and you go get in the jacuzzi and you feel great, but meanwhile you still have the structural problem. And so he calls this learning about things without doing them a jacuzzi experience. So I'm glad you got us out of the jacuzzi and into actual breath work.
Yes, I so enjoy it. And honestly, I do that probably a few times a day myself.
So meditative breathing, and what's the third time? So that was an example of something for an acute style of breathing. So what meditative, and then the third I didn't catch the name of.
The second phase is wellness breathing or proactive breathing, meditative breathing, whatever nomenclature you want to use. But that's a little bit longer, Jeff. That's like 7 minutes, 10 minutes, some ways up to 20, 25 minutes. And that's really getting you into the space where you can meditate. A lot of times people that can't meditate, we've all been told by science, we have these great benefits of meditation. Well, what happens if you're somebody who has trauma or who has PTSD or who has maybe been attaching to thoughts? If you stick somebody right in a meditation and they're not trained and they're not calm and they're not centered, like you said, they haven't fixed their physiology first, then good luck trying to meditate. Breath work and breathing is for people that have struggle meditating. And so when we do these longer style breathwork patterns, this is what allows us to actually nourish our physiology with oxygen, ground ourselves by pulling that lever for our autonomic nervous system. And that allows us to really be calm. And that, by the way, over time is what really makes people more adaptive to stress. Now, the third phase is catharsis breathing. This has been popularized by Wim Hof and by Leonard Orr and by Dan Brule and many of the teachers in the space. But catharsis breathing can last 60 to even 90 minutes or more. And that's where we did a tiny bit of that with our warrior breathing, our conscious connected circular breathing. That's done typically in a laying position, in a supine position, with an eye cover, with a trained facilitator. Because in those experiences, Jeff, there's some stuff that comes up. There's some emotional things that come up. So I don't push people to do that right away. I start people in my work with my program at that acute level, because we all deal with acute stress. Once you learn how to get yourself out of a moment in an acute stress, then you can really start focusing on the meditation, and then you can ramp up and do something like the catharsis.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest anybody start there. I was in Croatia once, and a friend of mine had a company there, and he was doing Mind Valley University, and so I had gone there for a business meeting with him, and they had all these classes going on, and they go, "Oh, you ought to go to the breath class." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm interested in that. I'll go." And I'm picturing I'm going to go to, a meditative style, or we're going to do box breathing. It's going to be this gentle float off into a meditative state, and they started breathing really hard, doing this catharsis style breathing, and I didn't realize what I'd signed up for. It was a much more intense experience when I was expecting to sit in lotus position and enjoy a nice half hour of, and instead it was a 90-minute class that was, it's not where I would start, and certainly has its
Absolutely.
place.
It has its place, but it can be, honestly, for people that are sensitive, especially for HSPs, highly sensitive people. A lot of times when we talk about anxiety and depression, the people that suffer with that the most are HSPs. So if somebody is with us and they feel like, maybe I'm more sensitive than my parents, maybe I'm more sensitive than my neighbors, maybe I just feel things on a deeper level. Science is showing us that HSPs can benefit more than almost anyone else from doing breath work because unfortunately, I identify as HSP, and many people that do, they're going to find that when you feel things deeply, it's actually really a gift. It's really beautiful to feel things deeply. It's just that we live in a society that doesn't always support that. It doesn't always make that normal.